Hello there, and welcome to Quiz Bible, the place where we put your biblical knowledge to the test. I'm so glad you've joined us for this enlightening journey. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Show your support by clicking the like button and type Amen to show your faith. Let us know how well you did by leaving a comment at the end. It's a great way to engage with fellow quiz takers and share your experiences. So, let's embark on this biblical adventure with Quiz Bible. Question 1. What peculiar object did God instruct Moses to fashion after a rebellion as a reminder to the Israelites? A. Golden serpent. B. Silver trumpet. C. Bronze serpent. D. Iron spear. The right answer is letter C. Then they set out from Mount Hor along the route to the Red Sea, in order to bypass the land of Edom. But the people grew impatient on the journey 5 and spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you led us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? There is no bread or water, and we detest this wretched food. Question 2. What bizarre event occurred where the prophet was commanded to lie on his left side for 390 days and on his right side for 40 days? A. A feast of abundance. B. The Siege of Jerusalem. C. The vision of dry bones. D. The burning bush. The right answer is letter B. When you have completed these days, lie down again, but on your right side, and bear the iniquity of the house of Judah. I have assigned to you 40 days, a day for each year. You must turn your face toward the siege of Jerusalem with your arm bared, and prophesy against it. Question 3. What creature spoke and rebuked the false prophet Balaam, preventing him from cursing the Israelites? A. Donkey. B. Serpent. C. Raven. D. Eagle. The right answer is letter A. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have beaten me these 3 times?" Balaam answered the donkey, "You have made a fool of me. If I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now." Question 4. What unconventional weapon did Shamgar, one of the judges, use to defeat 600 Philistines? A. Ox goad. B. Slingshot. C. Sling. D. Jawbone of an ass. The right answer is letter A. At that time, they struck down about 10,000 Moabites, all robust and valiant men. Not one of them escaped. So Moab was subdued under the hand of Israel that day, and the land had rest for 80 years. After Ehud came Shamgar, son of Anath. Question 5. What king of Israel was known for his wisdom and requested God for wisdom instead of wealth or power? A. Solomon. B. David. C. Saul. D. Rehoboam. The right answer is letter A. The Lord was pleased that Solomon had asked for this. So God said to him, "Since you have asked for this and not for long, life or wealth for yourself, nor have asked for the death of your enemies, but for discernment in administering justice." Question 6. Which angel delivered messages to both Daniel and Mary, announcing the birth of John the Baptist and Jesus? A. Uriel, B. Michael, C. Raphael, D. Gabriel. The right answer is letter D. While I was speaking and praying, confessing my sin and the sin of my people, Israel, and making my request to the Lord my God, the angel, Gabriel, whom I had seen in the vision previously, came to me in my extreme weariness. Question 7. In the New Testament, who was struck blind on the road to Damascus and later became an influential apostle? A. John, B. James, C. Paul, D. Peter. The right answer is letter C. The individual who was struck blind on the road to Damascus and later became an influential apostle is the Apostle Paul. This transformative event is described in Acts 9:1-19, where Saul, who later became known as Paul, encountered the risen Jesus and was struck blind. Question 8. Which disciple of Jesus walked on water for a brief moment before his faith faltered? A. James, B. John, C. Andrew, D. Peter. The right answer is letter D. Come, said Jesus. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the strength of the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and took hold of Peter. Question 9. Who was the first high priest of Israel and the brother of Moses? A. Aaron, B. Eli, C. Phinehas, D. Abihu. The right answer is letter A. Next, have your brother Aaron brought to you from among the Israelites, along with his sons Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, to serve me as priests. Make holy garments for your brother Aaron, to give him glory and splendor. Question 10. What miraculous event occurred on the day of Pentecost, empowering the apostles to speak in different languages? A. Burning bush, B. Cloven tongues of fire, C. Tower of Babel, D. Parting of the Red Sea. The right answer is letter B. Suddenly a sound like a mighty rushing wind came from heaven and filled the whole house where they were sitting. They saw tongues like flames of fire that separated and came to rest on each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other tongues as the Spirit enabled them. Question 11. Which Old Testament prophet experienced a vision of a valley of dry bones coming to life? A. Ezekiel, B. Isaiah, C. Jeremiah, D. Daniel. The right answer is letter A. The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out by his Spirit and set me down in the middle of the valley, and it was full of bones. He led me all around among them And I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, and indeed they were very dry. Question 12. What is the name of the place where Jacob dreamt of a ladder reaching to heaven with angels ascending and descending? A. Peniel. B. Mizpah. C. Bethel. D. Penuel. The right answer is letter C. And Jacob had a dream about a ladder that rested on the earth with its top reaching up to heaven, and God's angels were going up and down the ladder. And there at the top, the Lord was standing and saying, I am the Lord, the God of your father, Abraham, and the God of Isaac. Question 13. Which Old Testament figure is known for his incredible patience, enduring great suffering and loss? A. Job. B. Abraham. C. Jacob. D. Elijah. The right answer is letter A. Then Job stood up, tore his robe, and shaved his head. He fell to the ground and worshipped, saying, Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Question 14. What object did Moses raise to bring victory to the Israelites in their battle against the Amalekites? A. Ark of the Covenant. B. Bronze serpent. C. Tabernacle. D. Staff. The right answer is letter D. Joshua did as Moses had instructed him and fought against the Amalekites, while Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. As long as Moses held up his hands, Israel prevailed, but when he lowered them, Amalek prevailed. Question 15. What woman became a great judge and prophetess, leading Israel to victory over the Canaanites? A. Deborah. B. Jael. C. Delilah. D. Huldah. The right answer is letter A. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time. And she would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, where the Israelites would go up to her for judgment. Question 16. Who was the son of Abraham and Sarah, born when they were both very old and Sarah had been barren? A. Isaac. B. Ishmael. C. Jacob. D. Esau. The right answer is letter A. Now the Lord attended to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. So Sarah conceived and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised, and Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah bore to him. Question 17. In the book of Esther, what Jewish woman became queen of Persia and played a crucial role in saving her people? A. Ruth. B. Esther. C. Naomi. D. Hannah. The right answer is letter B. In the book of Esther, Esther, a Jewish woman, becomes queen of Persia. She plays a crucial role in saving her people from a plot to destroy them, showcasing her bravery and faithfulness in the face of adversity. Question 18. Who was the father of John the Baptist, and what happened to him when he doubted the angel's message? A. Joseph, blinded. B. Zechariah, struck mute. C. Simeon, aged rapidly. D. Amos, lost his voice. The right answer is letter B. I am Gabriel, replied the angel. I stand in the presence of God, and I have been sent to speak to you and to bring you this good news. And now you will be silent and unable to speak until the day this comes to pass, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled at their proper time. Question 19. What prophet confronted King David after his sin with Bathsheba, delivering a parable about a rich man and a poor man's lamb? A. Nathan. B. Samuel. C. Elijah. D. Elisha. The right answer is letter A. The prophet who confronted King David after his sin with Bathsheba and delivered a parable about a rich man and a poor man's lamb is Nathan. This event is recorded in 2 Samuel 12:1-14, where Nathan uses the parable to convict David of his wrongdoing. Question 20. In the book of Genesis, what man's name means laughter, as he was born to Sarah and Abraham in their old age? A. Esau. B. Jacob. C. Joseph. D. Isaac. The right answer is letter D. In the book of Genesis, Isaac's name means laughter, as it reflects the joy and laughter expressed by Sarah when she was told she would have a son in her old age. Isaac was indeed born to Sarah and Abraham as a fulfillment of God's promise. Question 21. Which Old Testament figure, known for his wealth and wisdom, wrote the book of Ecclesiastes? A. Solomon. B. David. C. Job. D. Daniel. The right answer is letter A. The book of Ecclesiastes is traditionally attributed to Solomon, the son of David, and known for his wisdom and wealth. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon reflects on the vanity of worldly pursuits and the importance of fearing God. Question 22. What was the name of the man who replaced Judas Iscariot as one of the 12 apostles? A. Matthias. B. Barnabas. C. Silas. D. Titus. The right answer is letter A. And they prayed, Lord, you know everyone's heart. Show us which of these two you have chosen to take up this ministry and apostleship, which Judas abandoned to go to his rightful place. Then they cast lots, and the lot fell to Matthias, so he was added to the 11 apostles. Question 23. In the book of Acts, which disciple was known for his skill in tent-making and his missionary journeys with Paul? A. Timothy. B. Silas. C. Titus. D. Aquila. The right answer is letter D. After this, Paul left Athens and went to Corinth. There he found a Jew named Aquila, a native of Pontus, who had recently come from Italy with his wife Priscilla because Claudius had ordered all the Jews to leave Rome. Paul went to visit them, and he stayed and worked with them. Question 24. What was the name of the man who was blind from birth and received his sight after Jesus anointed his eyes with clay? A. Bartimaeus. B. Was not mentioned. C. Nicodemus. D. Lazarus. The right answer is letter B. When Jesus had said this, he spit on the ground, made some mud, and applied it to the man's eyes. Then he told him, "Go, wash in the pool of Siloam." So the man went and washed, and came back seeing. Question 25. Which Old Testament figure had a miraculous birth to a barren mother and was dedicated to God as a Nazirite from birth? A. Samson. B. Samuel. C. Jephthah. D. Gideon. The right answer is letter B. And Elkanah had relations with his wife Hannah, and the Lord remembered her. So in the course of time, Hannah conceived and gave birth to a son. She named him Samuel, saying, "Because I have asked for him from the Lord." Question 26. What was the name of the city where Paul and Silas were imprisoned, and an earthquake led to the conversion of the jailer? A. Ephesus. B. Thessalonica. C. Philippi. D. Colossae. The right answer is letter C. We sailed from Troas straight to Samothrace, and the following day on to Neapolis. From there we went to the Roman colony of Philippi, the leading city of that district of Macedonia, and we stayed there several days. Question 27. Which Roman centurion, known for his faith, requested Jesus to heal his servant without actually being physically present? A. Julius. B. Cornelius. C. Longinus. D. Centurion at Capernaum. The right answer is letter D. When Jesus entered Capernaum, a centurion approached him, pleading for his servant's healing. The centurion expressed faith, saying, "But just say the word, and my servant will be healed." Jesus commended his faith and healed the servant from a distance. Question 28. What were the names of the two thieves crucified alongside Jesus? A. Dismas and Gestas. B. Judas and Barabbas. C. Malchus and Nicodemus. D. Simon and Alexander. The right answer is letter A. Two criminals were crucified with Jesus, one on his right and one on his left. Tradition names the repentant thief as Dismas and the other as Gestas. Dismas acknowledged Jesus as Lord and received a promise of paradise. Question 29. Who was the high priest during the time of the prophet Jeremiah, known for opposing his message? A. Eli. B. Abiathar. C. Caiaphas. D. Hilkiah. The right answer is letter D. These are the words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, one of the priests in Anathoth in the territory of Benjamin. The word of the Lord came to Jeremiah in the 13th year of the reign of Josiah, son of Amon, king of Judah, and through the days of Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, king of Judah. Question 30. What king of Israel was struck with leprosy for usurping the priestly role by offering incense in the temple? A. Jeroboam. B. Ahaz. C. Jotham. D. Uzziah. The right answer is letter D. But when Uzziah grew powerful, his arrogance led to his own destruction. He was unfaithful to the Lord his God, for he entered the temple of the Lord to burn incense on the altar of incense. Then Azariah the priest, along with 80 brave priests of the Lord, went in after him. 31. What was the name of the servant girl who recognized Peter during his denial of Jesus? A. Rhoda. B. Dorcas. C. Salome. D. Eunice. The right answer is letter A, and when he had realized this, he went to the house of Mary, the mother of John, also called Mark, where many people had gathered together and were praying. He knocked at the outer gate, and a servant girl named Rhoda came to answer it. 32. Who was the king that ordered all male infants in Bethlehem to be killed in an attempt to eliminate the baby Jesus? A. Herod Antipas. B. Herod Agrippa. C. Herod the Great. D. Herod Philip. The right answer is letter C. When Herod the Great saw that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was filled with rage. Sending orders, he put to death all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, according to the time he had learned from the Magi. 33. What prophet had a vision of wheels within wheels and the glory of God by the river Chebar? A. Daniel. B. Isaiah. C. Ezekiel. D. Jeremiah. The right answer is letter C. In the 30th year, on the 5th day of the 4th month, while I was among the exiles by the river Chebar, the heavens opened, and I saw visions of God. On the 5th day of the month, it was the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim, the word of the Lord came directly to Ezekiel, the priest. 34. Who was the Ethiopian eunuch baptized by when he was traveling in his chariot? A. Peter. B. Philip. C. James. D. Andrew. The right answer is letter B. So Philip ran up and heard the man reading Isaiah the prophet. "Do you understand what you are reading?" Philip asked. "How can I?" he said, "unless someone guides me." And he invited Philip to come up and sit with him. 35. What woman in the Bible became a judge and prophetess, leading Israel to victory over the Canaanites? A. Deborah. B. Huldah. C. Miriam. D. Rahab. The right answer is letter A. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time, and she would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, where the Israelites would go up to her for judgment. 36. Which city did Jonah try to flee to instead of going to Nineveh as God commanded? A. Tarshish. B. Joppa. C. Tarsus. D. Bethel. The right answer is letter A. Jonah, however, got up to flee to Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. He went down to Joppa and found a ship bound for Tarshish. So he paid the fare and went aboard to sail for Tarshish, away from the presence of the Lord. 37. Who was the Israelite judge known for his strength, with hair that, when cut, resulted in his loss of power? A. Gideon. B. Jephthah. C. Samson. D. Ehud. The right answer is letter C. Now there was a man from Zorah named Manoah, from the clan of the Danites, whose wife was barren and had no children. The angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "It is true that you are barren and have no children, but you will conceive and give birth to a son." 38. What was the name of the rebellious son of David who attempted to overthrow his father's kingdom? A. Rehoboam. B. Adonijah. C. Solomon. D. Absalom. The right answer is letter D. Sometime later, Absalom provided for himself a chariot with horses and 50 men to run ahead of him. He would get up early and stand beside the road leading to the city gate, whenever anyone had a grievance to bring before the king for a decision. 39. Who was the king of Babylon when Jerusalem was captured and the Israelites were taken into exile? A. Nebuchadnezzar. B. Belshazzar. C. Cyrus. D. Darius. The right answer is letter A. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, marched up to Jerusalem, and the city came under siege. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to the city while his servants were besieging it. 40. What prophet was told by God to marry a woman who would be unfaithful as a symbol of Israel's unfaithfulness to God? A. Isaiah. B. Hosea. C. Micah. D. Amos. The right answer is letter B. When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go, marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her, for like an adulterous wife, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord." 41. Which disciple of Jesus was a physician and wrote the Gospel of Luke and the Acts of the Apostles? A. John. B. Luke. C. Mark. D. Timothy. The right answer is letter B. Luke, the physician, is mentioned in Colossians 4:14, where Paul refers to him as the beloved physician. He is also noted for his attention to detail and thorough research in presenting the life and teachings of Jesus in the Gospel of Luke and the early history of the Christian church. 42. Who is described in the Bible as having the patience of Job? A. David. B. Solomon. C. Abraham. D. Job. The right answer is letter D. Brothers, as an example of patience in affliction, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. See how blessed we consider those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance and have seen the outcome from the Lord. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. 43. What was the name of the man who helped carry the cross for Jesus on the way to Golgotha? A. Simon of Cyrene. B. Nicodemus. C. Joseph of Arimathea. D. Cleopas. The right answer is letter A. Along the way, they found a man from Cyrene named Simon, and they forced him to carry the cross of Jesus. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means the place of the skull, they offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall, but after tasting it, he refused to drink it. 44. Who was the king of Persia who allowed the Israelites to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple? A. Cyrus. B. Darius. C. Xerxes. D. Artaxerxes. The right answer is letter D. He had begun the journey from Babylon on the first day of the first month, and he arrived in Jerusalem on the first day of the fifth month. For the gracious hand of his God was upon him. For Ezra had set his heart to study the law of the Lord, to practice it, and to teach its statutes and ordinances in Israel. 45. What was the name of the prophet who challenged the prophets of Baal to a contest on Mount Carmel? A. Isaiah. B. Elijah. C. Elisha. D. Micah. The right answer is letter B. So Ahab summoned all the Israelites and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Then Elijah approached all the people and said, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." 46. Which disciple was known for doubting Jesus' resurrection until he saw Jesus with his own eyes? A. Thomas. B. James. C. Andrew. D. Philip. The right answer is letter A. Now Thomas, also known as Didymus, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the nail marks in his hands, and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side." 47. Who was the Roman centurion who recognized Jesus as the Son of God during the crucifixion? A. Cornelius. B. Julius. C. Longinus. D. Centurio. The right answer is letter C. The Roman centurion present at the crucifixion who declared, "Truly this man was the Son of God," is traditionally identified as Longinus. However, the name Longinus does not appear in the biblical text, and it is derived from later Christian tradition and apocryphal writings. 48. What was the name of the prophetess who, along with Simeon, recognized the infant Jesus as the Messiah in the temple? A. Phoebe. B. Martha. C. Anna. D. Joanna. The right answer is letter C. There was also a prophetess named Anna, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher, who was well along in years. She had been married for 7 years, and then was a widow to the age of 84. She never left the temple, but worshipped night and day, fasting and praying. 49. Which apostle was also known as Nathanael and declared Jesus as the Son of God? A. Andrew. B. Bartholomew. C. James. D. Thaddeus. The right answer is letter B. Philip found Nathanael and told him, "We have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, the one the prophets foretold, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" Nathanael asked. "Come and see," said Philip. 50. Who was the father of John the Baptist? A. Zechariah. B. Simeon. C. Eli. D. Amos. The right answer is letter A. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zechariah, because your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you are to give him the name John. He will be a joy and delight to you, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great in the sight of the Lord." 51. What was the name of the mountain where Jesus delivered the Sermon on the Mount? A. Mount Sinai. B. Mount Moriah. C. Mount of Beatitudes. D. Mount Hermon. The right answer is letter C. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up on the mountain and sat down. His disciples came to him, and he began to teach them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." 52. What man in the Bible had a talking donkey? A. Balaam. B. Abimelech. C. Jephthah. D. Balak. The right answer is letter A. So in the morning Balaam got up, saddled his donkey, and went with the princes of Moab. Then God's anger was kindled, because Balaam was going along, and the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam was riding his donkey, and his 2 servants were with him. 53. Who was the son of David and Bathsheba, known for his wisdom and building the temple in Jerusalem? A. Rehoboam. B. Solomon. C. Abijah. D. Asa. The right answer is letter B. Then David comforted his wife Bathsheba, and he went to her and lay with her. So she gave birth to a son, and they named him Solomon. Now the Lord loved the child and sent word through Nathan the prophet to name him Jedediah, because the Lord loved him. 54. What was the name of the shepherd boy who became the second king of Israel? A. Saul. B. David. C. Jonathan. D. Samuel. The right answer is letter B. And Samuel asked him, "Are these all the sons you have?" "There is still the youngest," Jesse replied, "but he is tending the sheep." "Send for him," Samuel replied, "for we will not sit down to eat until he arrives." So Jesse sent for his youngest son and brought him in. 55. Who was the king of Israel when the prophet Eliah confronted the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel? A. Ahab. B. Jehoshaphat. C. Ahaziah. D. Joash. The right answer is letter A. When Ahab saw Eliah, he said to him, "Is that you, O troubler of Israel?" "I have not troubled Israel," Elijah replied, "but you and your father's house have, for you have forsaken the commandments of the Lord and have followed the Baals." 56. What was the name of the city where the Apostle Paul preached to the Athenians on Mars Hill? A. Corinth. B. Ephesus. C. Athens. D. Rome. The right answer is letter C. While Paul was waiting for them in Athens, he was deeply disturbed in his spirit to see that the city was full of idols. So he reasoned in the synagogue with the Jews and God-fearing Gentiles, and in the marketplace with those he met each day. 57. In the book of Daniel, which Babylonian king saw the writing on the wall during a feast? A. Nebuchadnezzar. B. Cyrus. C. Belshazzar. D. Darius. The right answer is letter C. Later, King Belshazzar held a great feast for 1,000 of his nobles, and he drank wine with them. Under the influence of the wine, Belshazzar gave orders to bring in the gold and silver vessels that Nebuchadnezzar his father had taken from the temple in Jerusalem. 58. What was the name of the son of Adam and Eve who became a shepherd and offered an acceptable sacrifice to God? A. Abel. B. Seth. C. Cain. D. Enoch. The right answer is letter A, and Adam had relations with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain. "With the help of the Lord I have brought forth a man," she said. Later she gave birth to Cain's brother Abel. Now Abel was a keeper of sheep, while Cain was a tiller of the soil. 59. In the book of Exodus, what was the name of Moses' sister who watched over him as he floated in the basket on the Nile River? A. Elisheba. B. Zipporah. C. Miriam. D. Hagar. The right answer is letter C in the book of Exodus. Moses' sister, who watched over him as he floated in the basket on the Nile River, was Miriam. In an effort to save the infant Moses from Pharaoh's decree to kill all Hebrew male babies, Moses' mother placed him in a basket on the Nile River. 60. Which prophet, known for his visions of heavenly creatures, saw a valley of dry bones that came to life? A. Isaiah. B. Ezekiel. C. Jeremiah. D. Hosea. The right answer is letter B. The hand of the Lord was upon me, and he brought me out by his Spirit and set me down in the middle of the valley, and it was full of bones. He led me all around among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, and indeed they were very dry. 61. What was the name of the city where David reigned as king before he captured Jerusalem? A. Bethlehem. B. Hebron. C. Jericho. D. Samaria. The right answer is letter B. Then all the tribes of Israel came to David at Hebron and said, "Here we are, your own flesh and blood. Even in times past, while Saul was king over us, you were the one who led Israel out and brought them back. And to you the Lord said, 'You will shepherd my people Israel, and you will be ruler over them.'" 62. What was the name of the villainous advisor to King Xerxes who plotted to destroy the Jews? A. Haman. B. Mordecai. C. Ezra. D. Zeresh. The right answer is letter A. After these events, King Xerxes honored Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, elevating him to a position above all the princes who were with him. All the royal servants at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, because the king had commanded that this be done for him. 63. Who was the Israelite woman who judged Israel and led a successful military campaign against the Canaanites? A. Rahab. B. Deborah. C. Jael. D. Huldah. The right answer is letter B. Now Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time, and she would sit under the palm of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, where the Israelites would go up to her for judgment. 64. According to the book of Judges, what was the name of the judge who sacrificed his daughter after making a vow to God? A. Samson. B. Gideon. C. Jephthah. D. Ehud. The right answer is letter C. Jephthah made this vow to the Lord. "If indeed you will deliver the Ammonites into my hand, then whatever comes out the door of my house to greet me on my triumphant return from the Ammonites will belong to the Lord, and I will offer it up as a burnt offering." 65. In the New Testament, what was the profession of the Apostle Matthew before he became a disciple of Jesus? A. Fisherman. B. Tax collector. C. Carpenter. D. Physician. The right answer is letter B. As Jesus went on from there, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the tax booth. "Follow me," he told him, and Matthew got up and followed him. Later, as Jesus was dining at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. 66. What was the name of the prophet who was fed by ravens and performed miracles, including raising a widow's son from the dead? A. Isaiah. B. Elisha. C. Elijah. D. Amos. The right answer is letter C. So Elijah did what the Lord had told him, and he went and lived by the brook of Cherith, east of the Jordan. The ravens would bring him bread and meat in the morning and evening, and he would drink from the brook. Sometime later, however, the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. 67. What was the name of Abraham's nephew who was rescued from the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah? A. Laban. B. Nahor. C. Melchizedek. D. Lot. The right answer is letter D. Now the two angels arrived at Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When Lot saw them, he got up to meet them, bowed face down, and said, "My lords, please turn aside into the house of your servant, wash your feet, and spend the night." 68. What was the name of the giant Philistine warrior defeated by a young David with a sling and a stone? A. Goliath. B. Samson. C. Og. D. Sisera. The right answer is letter A. Then a champion named Goliath, who was from Gath, came out from the Philistine camp. He was 6 cubits and a span in height, and he had a bronze helmet on his head. He wore a bronze coat of mail weighing 5,000 shekels, and he had armor of bronze on his legs and a javelin of bronze slung. 69. What was the name of the city whose walls fell after the Israelites marched around it for 7 days? A. Hebron. B. Ai. C. Gibeon. D. Jericho. The right answer is letter D. Now Jericho was tightly shut up because of the Israelites. No one went out and no one came in. And the Lord said to Joshua, "Behold, I have delivered Jericho into your hand, along with its king and its mighty men of valor. March around the city with all the men of war, circling the city 1 time." 70. What was the name of the high priest who judged Samuel's mother, Hannah, to be drunk when she prayed for a child? A. Eli. B. Phinehas. C. Hophni. D. Ichabod. The right answer is letter A. So after they had finished eating and drinking in Shiloh, Hannah stood up. Now Eli the priest was sitting on a chair by the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. In her bitter distress, Hannah prayed to the Lord and wept with many tears. 71. According to the book of Genesis, what was the name of the place where Jacob dreamed of a ladder reaching to heaven? A. Bethel. B. Peniel. C. Penuel. D. Mizpah. The right answer is letter C. So Jacob named the place Peniel, saying, "Indeed, I have seen God face to face, and yet my life was spared." The sun rose above him as he passed by Penuel, and he was limping because of his hip. Therefore, to this day, the Israelites do not eat the tendon which is at the socket of the hip. 72. Who was the king of Israel who sought the advice of the medium at Endor before his final battle? A. David. B. Saul. C. Solomon. D. Rehoboam. The right answer is letter B. Then Saul said to his servants, "Find me a woman who is a medium so I can go and consult her." "There is a medium at Endor," his servants replied. So Saul disguised himself by putting on different clothes, and he set out with 2 of his men. They came to the woman at night. 73. In the book of Exodus, what was the name of Moses' father-in-law who gave him wise counsel about leadership? A. Hobab. B. Jethro. C. Midian. D. Eleazar. The right answer is letter B. Now Moses' father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, heard about all that God had done for Moses and his people, Israel, and how the Lord had brought Israel out of Egypt. After Moses had sent back his wife Zipporah, his father-in-law Jethro had received her along with her 2 sons. 74. What was the name of the Babylonian king who threw Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego into the fiery furnace? A. Nebuchadnezzar. B. Belshazzar. C. Darius. D. Cyrus. The right answer is letter A. King Nebuchadnezzar made a golden statue 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and he set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then King Nebuchadnezzar sent word to assemble the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the other officials of the provinces. 75. What was the name of the prophet who was instructed to marry a prostitute? A. Hosea. B. Joel. C. Amos. D. Micah. The right answer is letter A. When the Lord first spoke through Hosea, he told him, "Go, take a prostitute as your wife and have children of adultery, because this land is flagrantly prostituting itself by departing from the Lord." So Hosea went and married Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. 76. According to the book of Genesis, what was the name of the man who wrestled with Jacob all night? A. Esau. B. Laban. C. A man. D. Ishmael. The right answer is letter C. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 maidservants, and his 11 sons, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. He took them and sent them across the stream, along with all his possessions. So Jacob was left all alone, and there a man wrestled with him until daybreak. 77. What was the name of the city where Paul and Silas were imprisoned, and an earthquake opened the doors and loosened the prisoners' chains? A. Ephesus. B. Philippi. C. Corinth. D. Thessalonica. The right answer is letter B. We sailed from Troas straight to Samothrace, and the following day on to Neapolis. From there we went to the Roman colony of Philippi, the leading city of that district of Macedonia. And we stayed there several days. 78. In the book of Nehemiah, what was the name of the official who opposed the rebuilding of the Jerusalem wall and mocked the Jews? A. Shemaiah. B. Tobiah. C. Geshem. D. Sanballat. The right answer is letter D. Now, when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he was furious and filled with indignation. He ridiculed the Jews before his associates and the army of Samaria, saying, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Can they restore the wall by themselves? Will they offer sacrifices?" 79. What was the name of the judge who defeated the Midianites with only 300 men and trumpets? A. Barak. B. Jephthah. C. Gideon. D. Ehud. The right answer is letter C. Then the Lord said to Gideon, "With the 300 men who lapped the water, I will save you and deliver the Midianites into your hand, but all the others are to go home." So Gideon sent the rest of the Israelites to their tents, but kept the 300 men who took charge of the provisions and ram's horns of the others. 8. What was the name of the widow who offered her last bit of flour and oil to Elijah? A. Ruth. B. Naomi. C. Hannah. D. Widow of Zarephath. The right answer is letter D. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah. "Get up and go to Zarephath of Sidon and stay there. Behold, I have commanded a widow there to provide for you." So Elijah got up and went to Zarephath. When he arrived at the city gate, there was a widow gathering sticks. 81. What was the name of the Jew who refused to bow down to Haman, leading to a decree to destroy the Jewish people? A. Mordecai. B. Esther. C. Zeresh. D. Vashti. The right answer is letter A, Haman son of Hammedatha the Agagite, elevating him to a position above all the princes who were with him. All the royal servants at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, because the king had commanded that this be done for him. But Mordecai would not bow down or pay homage. 82. What was the name of the disciple who betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver? A. Peter. B. Judas Iscariot. C. James. D. John. The right answer is letter B. Then one of the 12, the one called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and asked, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" And they set out for him 30 pieces of silver. So from then on, Judas looked for an opportunity to betray Jesus. 83. In the book of Acts, What was the name of the magician who opposed Paul and was temporarily blinded? A. Bar Jesus. B. Elymas. C. Simeon. D. Demetrius. The right answer is letter B. Then Saul, who was also called Paul, filled with the Holy Spirit, looked directly at Elymas and said, "O child of the devil and enemy of all righteousness, you are full of all kinds of deceit and trickery. Will you never stop perverting the straight ways of the Lord?" 84. According to the book of Genesis, what was the name of Abraham's concubine who bore him a son named Ishmael? A. Hagar. B. Keturah. C. Zilpah. D. Bilhah. The right answer is letter A. Therefore, the well was called Bir Lahai Roi. It is located between Kadesh and Bered, and Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to him. Wow, what a wonderful journey through this quiz it's been. If you enjoyed this quiz, please let us know by hitting that like button. Your likes mean a lot to us. Simply click subscribe below. We can't wait to have you on board. But before you go, share your quiz performance with us. Leave a comment. Tell us how many questions you got right. Thank you for being a part of the Quiz Bible family, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming quizzes.